Hello guys, my name is Imran and I'm doing a presentation on facial authentication and CVEs checkup for CSD 450. Computer security, humans have always been the factor, have always been the problem. And as a result, the password that we create to safeguard ourselves, which are usually alphanumeric password, has not been saved because we have a emotional attachment to things, and in order for us to remember more, we usually name our passwords in something that's related to us, and we always reuse the password. As a result, 64% of the passwords has been breached in the US, and that approximately there are 100 accounts each individual have that require passwords. And another aspect is that most websites out there are designed not with the idea of security in mind at all. What is facial authentication? With the failure and the flaws of alphanumeric password, the biometric alternative has become a huge goal for the developers. Facial authentication is authenticating a user and letting you in by measuring and looking into your biometric encodings of your facial features. And that has been one of the most helpful in making sure in cutting down the number of passwords required and a quick entry, and it's much safer compared to the alphanumeric password. But at the same time, with facial authentication raised the issue of depth, breadth, lighting, the cyber vulnerability and evaluation. What is it? It's basically a national database of code numbers that represent a specific vulnerability in a website, along with the attacks and the evaluations on how those attacks can be prevented. This project, in the baseline, is something that's out of my comfort zone because first, it's something that I have never done, which is that I have done full stack development in my internship, but I have not done it ground up. And this is something I have never done and it's out of my comfort zone. Two, I have done API calls, but it's been a long time since I've done it. And I have done 2 API calls on the National Database of Cyber Vulnerabilities and Evaluations and using the Showdown. 3, with the help of Professor Wilburn, I get to learn documentation, and it's a huge part of this learning process, and it's out of my comfort zone. And 4, coding with security in mind. I've been learning it as a developer. We should look into the security aspect. And this project has helped me with that. Obstacles. Halfway through the project, my laptop crashed. And I don't know how to solve it for a week until I met with Dr. Jan. And she pinpointed me that the reason my VS Code has been crashing is because of the WSL and Ubuntu breaking down with the recent Microsoft update. And I've got no other choice. SNS cannot help me. So I ended up getting a laptop from Professor Wilburn, who's very helpful in giving me the Ubuntu laptop. And that's one of my first obstacles. Second obstacle, the setup, the environment setup, IDEs, downloading the packages again. And it took me a day to set them up. But out of it, I get to use the terminal a lot and learn a lot on how to use the terminals. And when I decided to do facial authentication, I look into it, there's Face.io. There were so many paid versions, but there were so little free version. But I came across from the real Python website, I came across facial recognition modules from Python and OpenCV to handle the camera. The strategies I use, I research a lot, and I use a modular approach in dissecting the problem into functions and modules. And third, I use the separation of purpose in database, static, and anything that's logic. And in summary, this project is building with security in mind as a result following the CIA triad with facial authentication and CVE checkup, and I hope that I can develop this project more on the front end as this project is focused on the back end. Thank you so much. These are the references.